Now it's done. Can we come to order? We need to approve the minutes from the April meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? And now the administrative COAs and the new historic district property owners. Can I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Oh, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The first action item is from the Lynchburg Art Club about a sign and a sculpture.
Good afternoon. My name's Annette Kinsey, and this is Philip Carwile. We represent the Lynchburg Art Club at 1011 Rivermont Avenue. The art club has been in establishment since 1895, and we moved to our present location at 1011 Rivermont in 1961. So we've been there more than 50 years, and we're one of the better kept houses on Rivermont Avenue. We take good care of it. In fact, the porches in process have been scraped and painted back the same color, by the way, as we speak. We've dealt with various issues over the years with roof leaks and things like that, but we take very good care of the outside and inside. The only difference to the outside is we've closed the shutters so that we could have gallery space on the interior of the building, wall space. But the windows are behind the shutters. We're here today to request a new sign, and along with the sign is a proposal for a sculpture. Our existing sign on Rivermont Avenue is virtually inept. It does not do what we need it to do. I've had many people ask me where the art club is, and the sign is just invisible. It's parallel to the avenue, and we are proposing that this particular sign be perpendicular to the avenue and two-sided so that you can see it both sides. The sculpture, I'll let Phil talk to you a little bit about the details of the sculpture, and then we'll discuss the sign itself.
Okay.
The sculpture will be made of 3-inch metal tubing, placed 3 inches apart in this cross-type shape. At the base, it's
28 and a half inches
right,
square.
there it is, 28.5-inch square. And this base will be set onto a piece of, probably onto concrete, maybe other stone, but it'll be flush with the ground, so that the total height is 7 foot 9 inches.
And that is at the very tip.
The ball in the center would be stainless steel, and these things that project out, which actually hold the ball in place, will be stainless steel. The rest of it will be painted a tangerine color. As you pass by the thing, you will see that if you look directly at it, then you see between the poles, and as you go past it, then it sort of becomes a solid object, and then the circle becomes an ellipse.
And as you pass, you can see that although the frame will be the same color, it changes with the sunlight, with the shadows, and it is either darker or lighter as the sun moves.
The sign itself, what is the dimensions now?
We had proposed in our application that the sign be 18 by 24, that is not going to suffice. The opening of the existing sign is 24 by 36, and so we propose to enlarge it the same size, and that doesn't include the frame that's on the existing sign on the avenue. So,
Are you keeping the sign, the
no,
original sign?
that sign would be removed.
Okay.
And this would go in its place. The sign itself, we're proposing that it be attached to the sculpture, but it doesn't have to be. If you think better, we'd like to option actually to place it next to the sculpture on a pole that is square like one of these, and but color coordinated with the sculpture. The frame itself would be a tangerine orange. The lettering for the sign would be black on a white background. I think that's most visible, and that's what we're looking for. The words would be Lynchburg Art Club and Gallery is their official name, with emphasis on Art Club and Gallery. We want people to know that we have art inside for sale, and we change these out every month. And we've got some great shows, and we want people to know where we are and what we are. So,
And we have tried other things. We've put out flags, banners, the current sign, and 6 weeks ago, a lady came into the place and said, "You all need a sign out there." So we've set out boards, easels with boards on them. We've
flags,
done
anything
everything.
that's removable. And
But we just need more attention, something, we need something that's when somebody rides by, they say, that must be the art club, and we think this sculpture will do it. It's conservative design. Original thought was to do something really abstract and very colorful in order to grab attention, but this is what the designer came up with, and we're just very, very pleased with it. It's kind of has reference back to the Gothic and, with Victorian houses and all along the avenue, then able to work with that. This is, it can be sort of, it can be, some consider it to be Art Deco, or Art Moderne. That works along the avenue. Our house itself is a colonial revival. If you break it down to its different pieces, you'll see that each of these poles looks like maybe a picket to a fence, and there are picket fences all along there. Even the color, which is going to be tangerine, sort of matches that. Right across the street, there's a lot of red dirt over there where there's no grass, just red dirt. And I thought, it'll fit in just fine with that.
it's been there forever.
Applications committee?
Okay. The guidelines do not really cover sculpture. Our guidelines are more specific to signs themselves. So we'd have to open up for discussion as far as the sculpture is concerned. Secondly, we would have to approve the signs. So you do need to give us specifics on the lettering and the size. Now, my main concern is what you just said, is that you're changing the size of the sign, and the sign on this specific sculpture is part of it. So that actually could change the scale of the sculpture itself. So we would also need to see the difference. I think what you need to do is and you can draw this rather than have him do another sculpture. I mean, you could just take a scale drawing of that. I assume that's to scale.
It's scale, yes.
So when
new
he builds it,
signs.
it will look
It's,
exactly like that, just different scale. And I see he's done a lot of work here, and I would probably suggest that maybe he could just draw that thing to scale, showing the sign with the lettering. And maybe you could take the sign to the side, blow it up, however big you have to do it, to show what the lettering is gonna look like. And exactly how that will show up in there, because the size sign you're referencing would definitely change that. And the answer may be that you do take it aside from the sculpture, but again, it depends on what that new size would look like. So,
The sign originally was facing out like this, and so we had him move it in order to
well,
Make-
what
make
is,
it
what is
look
that size again for the sign, the one you have there, and what's it,
This
what
one?
is, and what is it changing to?
From 18 by 24 to 24 by 36, it's a standard size larger than the 18 by 24 on the artist scale.
Yeah, so that's a much bigger size, so it changes the scale.
It's the
of it.
size of the opening of the existing sign on the avenue.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that's not acceptable, I'm just saying for this particular sculpture, it changes it. It changes the scale of the whole composition.
And that is why we asked for the option to have the sign next to the sculpture rather than attached to the sculpture on a separate pole that would identify the club.
That would be entirely up to you, which way you want to do it. It's however you would present it to us.
Well, that's why we asked for the option.
You have that option.
Okay. As far as sculpture go, there was a sculpture in the yard for a number of years. It's not there anymore. It was on the other side of the walk, as you go up to the building. And we're not certain what happened to it. It's just not there anymore. But it was the large metal sculpture. In my memory, it was a sort of a basket weave of I don't know, it was probably some sort of chrome-plated metal that over the years I did notice deteriorate, and then it disappeared, so.
Is this sign being made out of metal also?
This is metal, yes. This is,
And the lettering would be painted?
yes.
And you don't have that design yet? I
We
take it?
don't have that design. We can certainly follow the designs of the existing signs on Rivermont Avenue. The black and gold lettering signs of the Historic District are, you know, it would be up to your suggestion, what you think that should be on there. We didn't know that that would be a significant factor. Certainly, it's going to be well done. But,
No doubt.
Well, what we need to do is look at the different typefaces and just find something that is easily read. Lynchburg and Gallery may be smaller than Art Club. I think we really need to put that in larger lettering.
So we can't make a decision today?
Well, I mean, this is open for discussion.
Well, what do you?
That's my comment.
Or, let's see, what could we do?
I mean,
Would,
what
if-
you're proposing to do
if the
is not what
sign-
you're showing us. That's
if-
my comment.
If the sign is, if we were to remove the sign from the sculpture, would you approve the sculpture? And then we'll
And then we'll bring the
bring
sign back.
the sign issue back.
We-
That
we,
means we could get him going on the,
Yeah,
on the sculpture.
the sculptor is anxious to start work so he can get this installed before the cold weather.
I will make a motion that the sculpture be approved with the exception of the sign, which must come back to the HPC for approval.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So do you want to table the sign until July so that they can just be on the agenda? Because if not, it'll have to be in August.
Yeah.
So
Can
the
you come
sign's
back in
tabled till
July?
July.
We'll be back in July.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then just like as soon as you guys get it, email it to the department.
And that's the tennis court. This is the tennis.
How's everybody?
Good.
I've
I've got the engineer who's actually overseeing the restoration of the court. He's available by phone if we could certainly get him on the bridge.
Can we get your name?
Sure, sure.
And the house where it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, Lance Johnson, I'm the grandson of Dr. Robert Walter Johnson, the house at 1422 Pierce Street.
Okay.
The location is significant in that Althea Gibson and Arthur Ashe, among over 200 other kids, trained there during the mid-50s, 1950s. And we're in the process of trying to put the house back in order as well as the court.
Okay, but this is just the
Just
tennis
the
court?
court, just the court.
Okay.
We've got a phone in here if you.
Can I dial
Yeah,
it?
go right ahead. You'll need to dial 9 to
Okay,
get out.
perfect. David, it's Lange. I'm with the Historic Preservation Commission, getting ready to talk about the project in Lynchburg. So I just wanted to have you bridged on. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you fine.
There are a number of people in the room, far too many to introduce one by one, but I'm sure there will be questions along the way.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, can you just introduce your project?
Sure. The project at hand is the restoration of the tennis court at 1422 Pierce Street. A tennis court is very famous in Lynchburg, where 5 Wimbledon champions played. We have formed the Whirlwind Johnson Foundation, 2 years to almost the day, to oversee the restoration and preservation of the home and the tennis court and the history that was made there. We're at the first stage of this. The United States Tennis Association has stepped forward and agreed to underwrite the entire restoration on behalf of the foundation, and also raise money for the foundation to help with the actual home restoration. So clearly, we're at the leading edge of this effort. We're excited. I think this is great news for the city of Lynchburg, and it's certainly great news to that district, which is, I think this house has been one of the lagging homes in the district, and we're going to now start to really address this immediately. There's a long history of how we got to this point. My grandfather died in '71. We don't have to go
We
through
don't need that.
So here we are, though.
Okay,
Ready
thank
to go.
you. Applications Commission?
It seems like a wonderful endeavor. Again, we do not have specific guidelines that cover tennis courts, but I think in this particular instant, I would make a motion that it be approved as submitted.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? No? Shall I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No? Okay.
That's it.
Go to
Get
it.
ready.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
thank you.
wonderful
Thank you.
project.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
exciting.
Just so you know, we have a contractor lined up. The plan is to start in July. They're going to do an announcement at this year's US Open. It'll be Althea Gibson's 60th anniversary of her win in 1957. So they want to tie this court to that anniversary, as well as Arthur Ashe's 50th anniversary of his win in 1968 is next summer. So between these two incredible anniversaries, this history will get taken care of.
Great.
So cheers.
Wonderful.
Great job.
Sorry, David. By the way, just as a reference, he's done 7,600 courts.
That's quite all right. I'm happy to be available in case you had any questions.
He's done 7,600 courts in 12 years with the USTA. So he's
Wow.
quite accomplished. I think we have literally the best court restoration guy. All right, Dave, sorry. Appreciate you being
Quite
here.
all right.
Thanks. Thank you. all.
Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Right.
We're on church.
Okay, let's see here. James Ostrin, 1414 Church Street, 1408 Church Street. Actually, I live in Charlottesville. Anyway,
Okay.
let's see, which is the first one here? This is 1408 Church Street. So the front porch is it's sloped, it's flat seam and has a hidden gutter. It's sort of a wreck. It leaks. I'm gonna have to replace some of the gingerbread once I fix the roof and replace the roof. And do you have a picture of the house next door, Robin? Yeah, okay. So that's the house next door, also my house. Recently had approval for that medium bronze factory finish standing seam metal, and I want to do the same thing at 1408.
So we're just talking about the porch?
Just the
right?
porch roof, yes. Yeah, it's rectangular. It has a small hip at the right side.
Are you
Okay.
planning on bumping it up like you did the other one?
It's going to have to go up probably one clapboard, yeah, to get the slope and put the main roof of the house is asphalt shingle. That's how I bought it, but it has half-round gutters, and I want to use the same on the porch.
So how will you handle the gingerbread?
Well, I sent you another photograph. Did you get that?
Yes.
Because you'll see, it doesn't cover the gingerbread, actually. I was thinking about that
So
this morning as
peek
well.
out
There's a
underneath?
crown, there's a piece of crown.
There's the,
Yeah, so that's right above, you can see the porch roof is right at the bottom of the screen there. But you'll see how the gingerbread doesn't get covered.
Okay.
Yeah, or not entirely covered. Most of it's exposed.
All right. Applications Commission?
Well, I can see where that's not covered here, but you're looking under that, because that's high. But I think your gutter would actually, can you pull that up? I think you can see the porch from the same picture. Yeah. Is that the downspout from the top gutter, it looks like it's connected to that. Does that have a hidden gutter in it currently?
Yes, the porch roof has a hidden gutter.
All right.
And that little leg there is draining it. It's awful.
Well, and you're going to increase the pitch by what, one clapboard?
I think it's going to need to be one clapboard, yeah.
I would, okay.
It's pitched now, but very shallow.
I'll make a motion that it be approved as submitted, provided that the new gutter be sized accordingly so that the fretwork, the gingerbread, would be exposed exactly as it is in this picture.
And I would love to do that. I think that's I'd love to get a smaller, it's just, the only rain it's collecting is off of the porch roof. So I can get away with a small gutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's doable.
Absolutely. And downspouts as well, smaller downspouts
Yes.
as well.
Well, I think you could still tie it into the one you have. You
I
could
could
still
probably
do
do
that.
that. Yeah, I could probably do that.
But the important
I understand.
feature here is the decorative
Yeah,
gingerbread.
sounds good.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No? Okay, got that one.
Thanks. 3 houses down is 1420 Church Street, which is at the last house before you get to Pearl. And it's in bad need of a paint job. Okay, so here's the, maybe it's a little easier to see here, so those are the colors, the white is the trim.
What
That's
about
just the actual paint, that's,
What about the shutters?
I haven't even thought about the shutters. Is there a picture of I think they're black or dark green. Any suggestions?
Black or dark green?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I was just kind of anticipating repainting them same color.
I like it. Oops, sorry.
I will make a motion that it be approved as submitted, provided that the shutters would be a dark color,
Okay,
in the dark green, black
gotcha.
category.
Rockwood shutter green. All right.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Lynchburg Covenant Fellowship?
Hi,
Hey,
I'm Connie Snavely, and this is Donnie Purvis, our brick mason. And I have some other pictures. I don't know that we can.
well,
put those up.
we need your name and your address.
Connie Snavely, 412 Madison
Okay,
Street.
thank you. Now,
And I have actual stones with me. that,
Okay.
A
if-
recast one that Donnie put linseed oil on, and then an original one that shows that they're just crumbling.
right. I've personally witnessed this. But do you need to recuse
I need to
yourself?
recuse myself from this particular application because I have dealt with and am dealing with architectural partners.
Okay,
So
all right.
I'm up.
Okay.
Would you like me to get the stones and?
No, just
No.
tell us.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let Donnie,
Well, initially, what we was doing was gonna take it down and rebuild it, is what we initially was doing. Once we got up there, a lot of it's been polished with cement, and once we removed that, everything come down in buckets. I mean, with no stones, any stones that we saved are still up on the scaffold, so it's not 100% rebuild. We're gonna use some of the original stones here that's on the scaffold, and just was planning on mingling the other ones in it. Even some of the ones that we left on the scaffold are starting to deteriorate away. So anything that was usable, that was gonna be safe, we left up there, and like I say, everything else you just touched and it was crumbled. I don't know if this was the last part of that job when they built that house, but once you get to the top, a lot of the stones were no more than 2 inches thick. It's like there's the leftovers and little pieces and stuff like that, and on the back side and the front, it was just, a lot of it was just polished with cement. I don't know if it was a repair some other time. Then the inside of it's actually a brick chimney with this veneer on front of it. And some places it's got a 1/2 inch joint between the brick and the stone where you got a thick stone, but a lot of it had 3 inches of joint and it was just dust. So it was all coming down. So we tore it down to a solid point, and these stones are carved and they got angles and stuff on it. So what I did is took the original stones, like 3 different sizes, 7 inches thick, and 9 inches thick, and 10 inches thick. And I molded and cast the original shape, texture, and everything, and the height and width, and matched the color of the stone. So when you mingled them in together, they would disappear. And then time environment got on there, the black soot from the riffing pipe and stuff like that, you would never know it was repaired. By putting a new one on there, don't know if they can carve it exactly like the original. This one right here, the face of it, by molding and casting, you get the original texture and shape and everything of the stones.
Now, Connie said that you're going to reuse what you can.
Yeah, everything else is still up on, here's the pictures if y'all want to see them of all the stones up on the scaffold that's going to be reused, the original stuff.
Well, that's
It's-
my question, because what's going to keep those from deteriorating?
Well, those are solid. I tapped on them and stuff, so nothing's deteriorating on these. Like I say, I think they got to a point to where they was using
Just anything?
leftover stuff. And a
Okay.
lot of it was like face cut, and it was just shedding off, and then some of it was little small pieces. Some of it went 2 inches thick, and then you get down lower, the stones are 4 inches and 6 inches thick.
Okay,
So it's like when they went up, it's whatever they had left over they was using on this last chimney. Other chimneys, nothing's happening to it, but this one right here is just falling apart like they was using the leftovers.
okay. So you're going to take everything down,
Anything that's gonna hurt somebody, fall off of and hurt, and decaying
Okay.
away is gonna be done away with, and we'll put the precast is what I was planning on doing, that match the texture and color, just mingle it in those courses where that's needed. Some courses might not need 1 stone, 3 stones and stuff like that, so it's not 100% rebuilt with those.
What's the chimney made of? The original
The original is a soft stone, sandstone, sediment stone or something. It's really soft. I mean, it's just crumbling. And the chimney originally it's a brick chimney with that veneered on front of it. It's a solid brick chimney underneath that.
And your recast stones are concrete?
They're a 2-to-1 mix as far as concrete and stuff's probably about 4,000 psi. I mean, and I made them a little bit thicker, like the thick stones that's down low, so that they were stacking, leave me a normal joint between the brickwork and the stonework, so everything be solid. Then I'm planning on tying those back into the brickwork, so it'll be stable again. Then it's got some granite caps on top that sits on top of that.
And that's still
That's
fine?
granite cap's fine.
Okay. So what's your thought?
Well, my thought is that they don't have any other option.
Well,
and
that's-
so I would move approval
Okay.
of the petition.
That's kind of the conclusion I came to also. Okay, can we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry it took this long to get you before us. Lynchburg College, Hopgood Hall. I don't know.
This was actually sent to us from the Department of Historic Resources, so I'm not sure if anyone from Lynchburg College is going to be here, although they were copied on the agenda. So this is a nomination to have that building placed on the state and national registers. And this, since we are a certified local government, you have the opportunity to comment on the nomination.
Do you know why it wasn't done before?
I do not.
I mean, they haven't changed the building or anything to make it ineligible? No? All right. What do we need to do with that?
It's,
Just vote?
it's a comment, you can, in the past, you know, people have made a motion like, you know, we recommend approval. We recommend it
Okay.
be, you know, listed in the, but if you have any comments, those go in the minutes as well.
Is this for the National Register
It's for the
National and
national and
state.
Virginia.
and state?
Mhm.
I will make a motion that the application be approved for listing on the National Register as well as the State Register for historic
Second.
Second?
properties.
Okay. What can I say? Can we vote to approve this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
All in
Yes?
favor?
We vote?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was just there for commencement a few weeks ago, and it sure is a beautiful campus. and
Oh, it
it's a
is.
beautiful
Yeah, my
building.
son graduated from there last year.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, one thing that was not on your agenda that does need to be taken care of, as required in your bylaws, is an election of chair and vice chair.
Okay.
So I think what you would need to do is first to,
Are they meeting?
huh?
I'm sorry, did you all, were you waiting to be seen as well? The third row in the back? No? Okay, I'm sorry. I'd seen her in here before. I wanted to make sure we didn't skip something.
Who, Miss Calhoun?
Yes.
Oh, she's everywhere. Yeah, so I think the first thing you would do is need to vote to amend your agenda to put the election of officers on there. And then if you turn the meeting over to me as the secretary, I'll call for nominations from the floor
Okay.
for chair and vice chair, and then we'll duly elect it.
We need to have an election, and I'd like to add that to this agenda.
I second that.
Okay. Do we need to vote on it?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? No? Okay, then I turn it
All
over
right.
to you.
So, according to your bylaws, the Historic Preservation Commission shall select from its own membership a chair and vice chair. You'll serve annual terms as such and may succeed themselves. This election will normally take place at the regular June meeting, which you're doing today. And your term will be from July 1 to June 30th of the following year. So at this time, since Ms. Kay Butterfield will be leaving us,
Yes, I will.
unfortunately, but I will call for nominations from the floor for the position of chair for the Historic Preservation Commission.
So you're doing the chair first?
It's typically what I do, but,
Okay. Well, I'd like to nominate Chris.
okay. So there's been one nomination. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of Mr. Chris McSwain being the chair of Historic Preservation Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kay.
I guess. Or you guess. So now I'd like to call for the nomination from the floor for the position of vice chair.
I'd like to nominate James Peary.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none. Would you accept that, Mr.?
Yes.
Okay. Hearing none, nominations are closed. All those in favor of Mr. Perry being the vice chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. Actually, you're still the chair, Ms. Butterfield,
So I can
until
adjourn the
July
meeting?
1, so it's
Okay.
up to you.
I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
All right.